Welcome to the Poor Man's Retro Game Room, and today I'm going to show you my latest Windows XP build. We're going to take a look at the specs on it, and then we're going to take a look at some of the gameplay footage, along with FPS being captured through fraps, and so see how it performs with Windows XP and some of the games you can play on Windows XP. And you know what? I've been down this road, I don't know, the last 3 or 4 months, just really loving retro gaming on retro PCs, and I've had some good fortune. I've had some parts donated to me. I've had old computers that we had that we no longer used, and I brought those out. You know, I've built a 98 machine. I've built a Windows XP machine other than this one, and I also have a Windows 95 machine. That's my Packard Bill. I did a video on it as well. But you know what? Going down this journey and just loving PC retro gaming, I found out that XP might be the best OS to have on a retro PC. It covers a huge amount of time span as far as gaming. It handles DOSBox very well, so you can play your old DOS games. But it also covers some of those really cool games that were in the the 2000s up to 2010-ish. Some of those really cool games that we don't play, or maybe not play on a modern system without at least doing a few tweaks and maybe downloading patches, stuff like that. So it's really cool just to have a Windows XP system and to be able to play it games that were around and made to play on that particular hardware. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check out my Windows XP build, the Windows XP Powerhouse. Let's check it out. So this is kind of an interesting computer for me. This is the very first computer that I built solo. And man, I played a lot of games on this computer, and it was a lot of fun. I was running Windows 7. It was like right at the very first launch of Windows 7, and that's what I ran on it. So I was really happy to get this back, because I knew that the Windows XP drivers, there are VXP drivers for everything in the computer. So very cool to get it back. I had it, I built it myself, and then it actually helped get my daughter through school, through college, and she hasn't been using it, so I made a little trade with her and sent her some game consoles in return for bringing this computer back. So once we pop the side cover off, you'll get a pretty good look at it. Of course, this is an NZXT Phantom full ATX case. I'm running on a mini motherboard, mini ATX motherboard, and it's an ASRock 970 DE3 U3 S3 motherboard. And we're running an AMD FX-8120 processor. Not the best processor in the world, but it works great on Windows XP. We've got two 4 gig RAM sticks. They're DDR3, and they're running in Duel Channel Mode, of course. And we've got a Radeon 6970 MSI Twin Frozr 3 video card with 2 gigs of video RAM. I stole that out of my other XP machine to get this one up and running, and to be able to use this. So it'll be going back in the other XP machine at some point when I find out a better card. So let's take a look at a few of the games here. This is Titan's Quest, and we're running it. You can see even in combat it's above 60 frames per second. It kind of bounces back and forth, 67, 65 frames to 75 frames, but running at a very smooth 75 frames per second here. This is a great game that you don't hear a whole lot about. Man, if you like the Diablo series, Titan Quest is a great game. A lot of fun. Alright, how about some Grand Theft Auto 3? And you can see that it's running at a 60 frames per second. I think it's kind of locked into that. There is a little setting where you can unlock the frames you know, you don't want them locked in at 30 or whatever. But so I did hit that setting. Everything's cranked to high, of course, and you can see it's just a really good experience at 60 frames per second. Runs absolutely smooth, and I do not see that frame per second drop at all. So very consistent FPS, and you know what? Playing it on the PC is a great way to play Grand Theft Auto 3. You can see farther, better resolution, and then of course we got Wolfenstein, Return to Castle Wolfenstein, and yeah, it's running around 90 frames per second. It does, you know, kind of dip down into maybe the high 70s, low 80s. But it's pretty cool being able to stab a dude in the face at 90 frames per second. Very, very smooth frame rate here. Alright, and then one of the surprising things is I threw in Diablo II, playing it, and I kind of thought it would have a really high frame rate. Well, it's 25 frames per second. I kind of have a feeling like it may be locked into that. It's a smooth experience either way. No different from playing it on my Windows 98 machine. You know, everything's there. It runs great on XP. So I just kind of think that maybe that's locked in. So let's try a little DOSBox. Let's play some Dark Forces here. And one of the cool things about Windows XP is that it runs DOSBox very well. And so that just kind of gives you all those old DOS games that you can play on the system, plus a bunch of those games, you know, in the 2000s that were made for XP and play on XP. So it really does give you a really long time span of different games that you can play. It's kind of a Swiss Army knife, really. So, and this is one of my favorite all-time DOS games. Man, I just love this game. I remember getting it home and playing it and just being blown away. And that was really the start. Doom and Dark Forces and Descent, Heretic. It's really at the start of my obsession with PC gaming. So it's cool to come back and revisit these games nowadays. I always thought this was cool. You finish the level and you escape. And you actually see the ship come down to pick you up. Alright, let's play some Doom 3. This game was, of course, you know, built basically for XP, and when XP was at its prime. And one of those games that really blew me away. I mean, the lighting in this game, it was ahead of its time, and a really great game. And of course, it's running, you know, at a good frame rate. It's usually runs in the 50s and 60s. It does bounce around a little bit.
Just that the science team demand a lot out of these things.
But I'll tell you what, I don't notice it when I'm playing it. And you know, to me, anything over 40 frames per second is a win. I mean, it's playable. So we're going to show some Oblivion, and I've got everything cranked up to the highest level here. All the shadows, the draw distance and everything, and you can see that this system handles it very, very well. Usually on an average of 75 frames per second. It goes a little bit over sometimes, dips a little under as well. But yeah, this game looks beautiful when you got all the settings up on it. What a great experience Oblivion was.
Die, Kerr!
Alright, so, the big one, Crysis. Let's see how well it can run Crysis. So right off the bat, we're bouncing around 70 frames per second, maybe dipping in, you know, below 70. Got to 46 there, that little spike, and sometimes over 75 frames per second. It's not unusual to see 80 frames per second at times. But this is cool, man. I got this off of GOG.com, Great Old Games, and it's cool that since it is made to run on XP, or compatible with XP, I should say, you can download the offline installer and take it over to your XP machine and install it, which is really cool. I installed it right off a thumb drive. Very easy, and man, it's been a long time since I played Crysis, and this was really fun. What a cool game. And I'll tell you, back in the heyday of XP, I did not have a rig that would run Crysis. It wasn't until later on Windows 7 that I actually was able to play the game, so pretty cool. Well, thank you so much for clicking on this video and watching this video, and I do want to just thank the community, anybody who's watched any of my videos in the past, and people who have subscribed to my channel. Thank you very much. We finally went over 1,000 subscribers, and it's been a very humbling and very, very fun journey that I've been on through YouTube. Met a lot of very cool people, and really that's the best part of being on YouTube. So thank you very much. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.